All right, so for 2.4, we're going to start going over inequalities. With these inequalities, you are going to be solving them, graphing them, pretty much telling whether or not they're true or false, and seeing if a given number is a solution to those inequalities. We want to think back to like elementary school and when we were dealing with inequalities and the alligator eats the bigger number kind of thing. With these, your symbols, if it does not have a line underneath it, it is not equal to that number. So a less than is just less than that number, it doesn't include that number. A less than or equal to includes the number that comes after it. For a greater than, again, it doesn't include that number, but the greater than or equal to includes that number. We look at our first set of examples. We're just determining whether each statement is true or false. For A, we have -5 is less than 3. Obviously, any negative number is less than a positive number, so this one is true. For B, we have -9 is greater than -6. Your numbers that are less than the other are those that are further away from 0. -9 is further away from 0 than -6 is, so -9 is actually less than -6. So this one is false. For C, we have -3 is less than or equal to 2. -3 is less than 2, so this is true. And for D, we have 4 is greater than or equal to 4. That line underneath the inequality signs means that it's equal to. So this inequality just says the number is less than, or sorry, the number is greater than or equal to 4. So because 4 is equal to 4, this is true. The next section that we're going to start going over, actually, before we do that, no, yeah, we can do that first. All right, so the next section that we're going to go over, it's going to be dealing with interval notation and graphs. When you're dealing with interval notation, you want to think about what we did in the beginning of the year. So if you have something like x is less than 3, the interval notation of that is going to include the number that is less than 3 as well as the 3. So if the number is less than 3, it goes to -infinity, and then 3 is your other number that you're working with. With these, both of these numbers get parentheses on it. The infinity or -infinity will always have a parentheses on it, and then that 3 is getting a parentheses on it because the inequality is not equal to the 3. If it was equal to the 3, then there would be a bracket on it. Like you see here, x is greater than or equal to 1. It includes that 1, so there's a bracket on that 1, and then it goes to +infinity, so then there's a parentheses on the +infinity. With these, as long as your variable comes first with your inequality, it tells you the way to draw your line on your number line. So if the inequality comes first, the way that your sign points is the way that your line will run. If we look at example 2a, we have x is greater than -5. So with this, our x is by itself. Interval notation, it's greater than -5, so we're working with the -5, as well as the +infinity since it's greater than. Because it's greater than and not equal to, we're going to put parentheses on that -5, and then the infinity automatically gets the parentheses on it as well. on our number line. We're going to find that -5. We're going to put a parentheses on that, and then we're going to draw our line to the left. Now, you're used to this circle, this open, closed circle, which is fine if you want to do that as well. To be honest with you, I'd rather you do the closed circle, open circle with these specifically so that way I can tell the difference between your parentheses and your brackets. For B, we have x is less than or equal to 2. So we're going to have this 2, and then it's less than, so we also have a negative infinity. It's equal to that 2, so the 2 will get a bracket on it, and then the negative infinity gets a parentheses. Once again, on your number line, you're going to find that 2. You're going to have a closed circle on that 2 if you decide to do it this way, or you'd have a bracket on that 2. And then your line goes to the left because it goes to negative infinity. When you are solving these inequalities, you want to remember that you're getting the x or the variable by itself. If you multiply or divide each side by a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. So if we look at example A, we have 2x minus 7 is less than -1. We're just getting x by itself, just like we would if we were solving an equation. So we're going to undo the addition or subtraction first. In this case, we're going to add the 7 to each side. This is going to give us 2x is less than 6. From here, we can undo the multiplication by dividing the 2 on each side. So x is less than 3. If we were to put this into interval notation, this would just be x is less than, so that goes to negative infinity to 3, and then we would have parentheses on both of these. On our number line, we would find that 3. We would have an open circle on that 3, and then our line would run to the left. Again, with these, if your variable comes first in your inequality at the very end, the sign tells you the way to draw your line. It points to the same direction as you draw your line. For example, B, we have 5 minus 3x is less than 3. So with this one, we're going to start it by subtracting the 5 from each side. We get negative 3x is less than 6. From here, we're going to divide each side by that negative 3. Because we are multiplying or dividing each side by a negative, we're going to flip the inequality sign as well. So x is going to be greater than negative 2. To write this in interval notation, you have that negative 2, you have x is greater than, so it goes to positive infinity, and these both get parentheses on them. Your negative 2 will have an open circle on it, and because it goes to infinity, your line's going to go to the right. For C, we have 6 minus x is greater than or equal to 4. So this one, we're going to subtract the 6 from each side. We have negative x is greater than or equal to negative 2. And then we just divide each side by that negative 1 to make the x positive. Remember, if you're dividing each side by a negative, you flip the sign. So x is less than or equal to positive 2. If it's less than, it's going to go to negative infinity. If it's equal to the 2, it gets a bracket. So on our number line, you look for that 2. We're going to have a closed circle on this 2 now, because it is equal to it. And then our line will run to the left since it goes to negative infinity.